Hi there, this is Dr. Craig Hain, and my students call me Dr. Dell, and I want to talk to you about a high school mathematics teacher's guide that I've written for you. And this could also apply to middle school. It's really for any post-elementary mathematics student, and it's a 30-page guide that, of course, we're going to give you a PDF copy of. And I want to tell you a little bit about what's in it. There are actually 10 chapters in it. Each one's about 3 or 4 pages long. And the very first chapter talks about what's in it for me, and of course, the me is you. What are you going to get out of this teacher's guide? And I think that's very important that you understand what you're going to get out of it. And in fact, I put a PDF of this chapter right below on this site so you can actually access it. Now, in chapter 2, I ask the question, who is Dr. Dell? Who am I? And I give you my background so you'll understand where I'm coming from. And I won't elaborate on it right now, but I think that if you're going to listen to someone's advice and ideas on something, you need to know who they are, where they come from, what is their background, and why should you even listen to it. In number 3, I talk about what I think perhaps the most important thing you need to understand as a teacher, and that's what I call the triad of effective math education. I've been teaching mathematics for decades now, very, very successfully at all different levels. And I can tell you that it doesn't matter what the level is, whether you're dealing with 10 years old or 20-year-old, 30-year-old, even 60-year-old, there is a certain thing that you must do to be effective, I've found, and I call it the triad of effective math ed, and that's discussed in chapter 3. Then in chapter 4, I talk about the attributes of a really good math teacher, and I think that you need to be aware of that, particularly if you're going to be the math teacher. And this book is aimed at you if you want to be the math teacher. Now, in order to elucidate and demonstrate what I'm talking about in terms of the content that you should be teaching, in chapter 5, I talk about my practical math foundation course. It's an online course, and I will give you the syllabus of that, which I talk about in chapter 6, or you can use it as a lesson plan so that you can do what I do with my online course if you want to teach it directly yourself. On the other hand, if you really don't want to teach it directly and you want some help, then there is a way that you can actually use what I do in the foundation, and that will be covered on another page on our website that you can go to and learn about our practical math foundation, which gets you started. In chapter 7, I talk about the importance of using tools in the teaching of modern math, and in particular, in the beginning, the use of a scientific calculator. That is absolutely critical today in effective teaching of math and the performance of math, and I talk about that in chapter 7. Now, what I recommend is that you always ground your student with a foundation. And no matter who the student is, how bright they are, or it's particularly important for students that might struggle with math, have a fear of math, is the practical math foundation. And I talk about that a lot. But then in chapter 8, I talk about how do you go beyond the foundation for those students that want to go into science or engineering or maybe even become mathematicians. And I talk about a 10-tier program I recommend. Of course, the foundation was the first 2 tiers. In chapter 9, I talk about resources available to you today that you should be aware of. Some of them are free, some of them cost some money. They're all very cost effective. As a matter of fact, if you're spending a lot of money today on textbooks or other math training materials or tutors, you really, really need to look at chapter 9 and see what resources you could be using that would be very, very cost effective for you and would save you a lot of time and money, and is equally important, would be more effective for your student and save them time and money. And in fact, in chapter 10, I actually have then some final advice I give you of what to do. And one of those advices is to go ahead and study what I do in the foundation course. Whether you choose to use it or not, you can at least have the syllabus of it, and there's another link to get to that on another page, and another video that talks about the practical math foundation and just what's in it and how it works and why it's so effective and how you could actually use it yourself then in a variety of ways to achieve the objectives you have. So my goal for you as part of our Math Literacy Crusade is to deliver your student, however you do it, a really effective math education, because 95% of all students can learn math if it's taught properly. They can like it, they can do well at it, they can become math-literate, and that's going to make them much more successful in their life and open up many more opportunities for them than if they are not math-literate. This is Dr. Dell signing off. I'll see see you on another video.